Hello audience. How are you? I hope you all are well. Welcome back to another video by Ghostly Gloom. Before we begin, I kindly request you to subscribe to Ghostly Gloom and hit the bell icon to receive more videos from us. After watching the video, please take a moment to like it and comment on how you felt while watching. Now, let's dive into the story.
I am a 19-year-old female, and at the time that all of this happened to me, I was 17. So just to give some long and necessary background, I was still dating a guy named Kyle. That's not his real name, but go with it. We shared a small group of friends. We were all pretty close to each other. We did almost everything together, especially when it involved smoking weed and doing other harder substances. They were pretty chill and trustworthy friends, or so I thought. Anyways, one day 2 weeks before my junior year started, I was hanging out with the group at one of their houses, and I just so happened to fall asleep after a while of being there. I woke up probably 5 minutes later to one of my friends touching my inner thigh. Just to note, I was the only female in the group, and my boyfriend wasn't there when this occurred. He was at show choir practice, so he couldn't have been there even if he wanted to. When the friend touching me noticed I woke up, he immediately stopped, and I ran into the bathroom crying. I've been raped and sexually assaulted before, so just going through it again isn't the greatest feeling. A few minutes passed by and I left the bathroom. I pulled one of my friends aside and told him what happened. His response shocked me. He said he saw what happened, but he didn't stop him. I don't know why he didn't, and I guess I'll never know. But that same friend told me not to tell Kyle, because he didn't want any friendships ruined. Well, I obviously told Kyle after show choir practice, and he was understandably pissed off. We've come to the agreement that we will no longer be friends with them anymore. A few days went by still avoiding the group, and we would receive a lot of messages from them, but they were shocking and hurtful messages saying, I'm being overdramatic, that it's my fault that it happened. Just act like nothing ever happened. He didn't really sexually assault me, and so on. I was pretty destroyed reading all those messages coming from those so-called friends, but for some stupid reason, we all became friends again when school started. I know what you're thinking. Why would we go back to that shitty group of friends? I guess our only lame excuse is that we hate confrontation, and we wanted things to go back to normal. I wanted to feel normal again. Well, obviously it wasn't the best idea taking back those friends, especially the one who touched me, because it started to really affect me mentally. I became super depressed. I developed really bad trust issues with everyone, including my boyfriend. I would constantly have panic attacks throughout the day. I started self-harming again. I was extremely suicidal, and I was failing all of my classes because I rarely showed up to school. The school attendants and staff had no idea what was wrong with me. I would refuse to tell them and my family. But one day came around and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told my family, and at first they were supportive, but then it quickly changed. I don't really want to go into the details, but for a long time I felt so alone. Later on, around November 2017, my boyfriend did something behind my back with another girl. He didn't cheat on me. He just sold some weed to her. But for some odd reason I mentally got worse. I just didn't know how to cope with anything that is and was happening to me. I started mentally abusing my boyfriend. Like extremely bad, to where he hated himself, and I think at some point he even became suicidal. Deep down it made me happy. I wanted someone to feel pain to. But it got so bad to where we broke up twice, but then got back together the same day each time. Now fast forward to around February 2018. One night, that's when it happened. I was having trouble sleeping, and it was getting late. I also had school the next morning, so I was getting pretty frustrated. Finally, around 1 AM I started dozing off. I found myself awake probably about 10 to 15 minutes later. I noticed a tall dark figure standing across the room in my closet. At first, I thought it was my older brother messing with me because he's done stuff like this before. But as I tried to say his name, I couldn't. That's when I realized I couldn't speak, couldn't move, I was paralyzed. So as I'm staring at this figure in my closet wondering what the fuck is happening, the figure starts moving closer to me. Then I noticed it kind of looks like it was floating towards me. I can feel myself panicking, but I couldn't move or say anything. So when the tall dark figure reached the side of my bed, I kid you not, it bent over and grabbed my nose. Now I couldn't breathe through of my nose or mouth. I'm just staring at this dark figure. Its face was so close to mine, but I couldn't make out any features. I can feel my heart trying to break out of my chest. My lungs are hurting like hell because I couldn't breathe. I legitimately thought I was going to die, but suddenly I quickly sat up, gasping for air, looking around my room for that figure, but it wasn't there. I was scared. I was so scared. I didn't know what just happened. I thought I just had the most realistic nightmare of my life. I mean, I guess that's kind of what happened. The next morning, when my boyfriend picked me up for school, I told him about the realistic nightmare. He said, "That's creepy," and that was that. A few weeks later I brought it up to my older brother, and that's when he told me that I actually had sleep paralysis. I had no clue what sleep paralysis is, but after hearing his definition of it and doing some research, I was really freaked out. I read online that stress, anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and some other things can cause sleep paralysis. I realized that everything that had happened to me sort of recently played a big part in my sleep paralysis episode that night. I would be lying if I said I didn't have trouble sleeping for a while after that, but I eventually got over it. But every now and then, I do get a little nervous to go to sleep. Fast forward to now, 2020. Kyle and I are doing really well. Better than ever. We are renting our own apartment. We have 2 cats, and they are absolutely amazing. Our 3-year anniversary is next month, and we are extremely excited. On another note, September 22nd, 2019, I was diagnosed with extreme depression and anxiety disorder, but I now go to therapy and take medications to help with that. I have never felt better and happier.